Hi, it's Tuesday the 9th of August 2022. I'm spending this summer walking from Land's End to John O'Groats. This morning I'm in Tain up in northern Scotland, and this is my last stage. I'm following the John O'Groats way from Tain up to John O'Groats. So today's itinerary, I'm walking to the town of Dornoch, where I'm going to stock up with food and water. And then there's a wood just to the north of Dornoch where I'm planning to camp tonight. And at the wood there's a site where there used to be a Iron Age building called a broch. So I'm hoping to camp near there tonight and have a look at the site while I'm up there. This part of the walk, which goes from Tain to the Dornoch Firth, goes very close to the Glenmorangie distillery, the famous whisky company. So whisky lovers doing this walk, they can visit there. I think you get you can do a guided tour, and you probably get a free sample of Glenmorangie whisky afterwards. And then after that is the Dornoch Firth bridge. I think it's about 1 kilometre long bridge, and after that I'm just walking through country lanes to Dornoch. So it should be quite a scenic journey today. So these are the markers I'll be following all the way up to John O'Groats. There's a very useful website as well. I think it's jogt.org.uk, and that's the main website for this trail. There's also you can get a map as well. I brought that along as well, but I don't think I'll need it. But it does have a lot of interesting points on it, historical facts and so on. So I'm just heading towards the Dornoch Firth bridge. So after the bridge, it's just a pleasant walk along the Firth now to Dornoch. Just arrived in the centre of Dornoch. That's the Dornoch Castle Hotel. There's a beach about half a mile away from the town centre, so I'm just going to pop down there for a little break and then carry on up to the forest where I'll be camping tonight. Sitting on the edge of the Dornoch Firth, the small historic town of Dornoch boasts a tranquil location, stunning scenery and sunny climate. This thriving community sits on the east coast of the North Highlands that runs from the Moray Firth up to Sutherland. It is blessed with a particularly sunny climate thanks to its sheltered position and has miles of golden sandy beaches. The town is famous for its impressive cathedral. It was founded in 1224 and was restored again in 1835 and again in the 20th century. Just arrived at Dornoch Beach, so I'm just going to have a little lunch break here and then continue northwards up to the forest. So time to head up to the woods. I think it's Skelbo Wood I'm going to tonight. It's about 3 miles up the road. Just arrived at the forest. I've just arrived at the site where Skelbo Brock used to be. Now a brock, these were buildings that they're unique to Scotland, I think. There's nowhere else that these were built, and these date back 2,000 years to the Iron Age. And basically it's just a tower. It's just a dry stone tower which people built, and then they lived in them. And archaeologists think that they weren't really for defensive purposes, because they were a bit too small for that. They were probably where there was a Celtic tribe living here. The chieftain probably would have lived in a brock. It was a kind of to impress the neighbours. But unfortunately, Skelbo Brock, there's nothing here now. There might be a few stones. It's very overgrown. There's a better example of a brock further up the coast. I'm going to a place called Nibster, and the brock there is still about, the walls are still about 4 foot high, and that gives a better impression of how they used to look. But unfortunately, most of the brocks in Scotland now are in various states of ruin. So I'm just going to have a quick look around here, and then I'm going to look for a campsite for tonight. No, unfortunately it's far too overgrown at the moment to have a wander around, but it's not as important because I came to this forest to camp tonight. So I'm just going to look for a nice secluded spot to spend the night. Found a nice secluded spot in the woods, so time to settle down again. Tomorrow I'm walking to the town of Brora, where I've got a hotel booked for the night, and I'm hoping that the footpath now it sticks to the coastline. I'm hoping to get some really nice views of the coast, because I know there are some quite dramatic views as I approach John O'Groats. And I'm hoping it's going to be a nice sunny week as well. So until tomorrow morning, good night. So this morning I'm heading down to Loch Fleet, and I'll be walking around the shore of the Loch Fleet towards the town of Golspie, and I'm just going to get do some shopping there. And then I'm hoping to get a glimpse of Dunrobin Castle on the way, which is a 19th century, very pretty looking castle. It looks very much like a French chateau. And then I'm hoping to see the remains of another brock on the way to Brora, and then at Brora I'll just be stopping at a hotel for the night. And I'm hoping it's going to be a very sunny day today. Just approaching Loch Fleet. I think this is a nature reserve, so I'm hoping to see if there's any information boards on the walk around the shore. There are seals that come into the loch, so I'm not sure if I'll see any today though. Yes, according to this information board, the loch is a very important place for harbour seals, and they come here every June to give birth to their pups, and then they stay here for about 4 to 5 weeks raising the pups before moving out into the sea. So I guess in June there's a lot of seal spotters coming here. Another view of the loch. I'm just approaching Golspie. I'm only about another 6 miles or so from Brora, so I'm just going to get some sandwiches and a can of Coke for lunch. I'm hoping to be able to get a look at Dunrobin Castle from the John O'Groats trail, so I'm hoping it's pretty close to the coast. I can just see Golspie in the distance now. I'm just approaching Dunrobin Castle. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to fly the drone here, so I just have to have a little look at the castle from the coastal path. But this is a castle, or it's more of a chateau. That really, this one dates back to the 19th century, but I think there's been a castle here for a few centuries, and these days it's owned by the Duke of Sutherland. So now it's just a 5-mile walk along the coast up to Brora. Just arrived at Carn Liath Brock. So this is in a much better condition than the Brock at Skelbo wood. I think that the biggest one in Scotland is still standing is in the Shetlands. It's about 13 meters tall. So I guess when they built them, these would have been quite tall, impressive buildings. The people who built these walls are obviously very good at dry stone wall building. You can hardly see any gaps in between these stones. Very skillfully made. So time to continue on to Brora. Arrived at Brora. It's quite sunny, but it's very windy this afternoon, so I'm just going to have a little break down by the sea and then go into the town and look for my hotel for the night. I've just arrived in the centre of Brora. So I'm staying here tonight at the Sutherland Inn, and there's a very handy supermarket just across the road, so don't have to go much further tonight. So tomorrow I think I'm walking to Helmsdale, which should be quite a picturesque walk, I hope. So until then, good night. Thursday the 11th of August. So today I'm continuing along the coast to Helmsdale. So this morning it's just a 13-mile walk along the coast. But the only problem is I have to cross a river. According to the trails website, there's a river a few miles further along. So I don't know what that's like in the winter, although I think this is one of the driest summers in the UK, so hopefully you shouldn't have any problems with that. And then I'll just continue up to Helmsdale, where I've got another hotel booked for the evening. Well, I've just arrived at the river and I don't think I'm going to be able to cross this. It looks like it's about a metre deep at least in the middle. There's very slippery rocks and I've got a very heavy backpack, so I think the best thing is just go back. I know there's a detour onto the A road about a kilometre back in this direction, so I think it's a better idea to take that way. Just arrived in Helmsdale. Just arrived in Helmsdale. This is a nice, quiet, small place. It's a pity that it's getting cloudy now. I think it's going to rain tonight. If it was sunny, I'd go around and take some photographs, but I'll see what it's like tomorrow morning. So I'm staying at the Belgrave Arms Hotel just over there tonight. Then tomorrow morning I'm continuing up the coast to Dunbeath, where I'll be staying on a campsite. So until tomorrow morning, good night. Friday the 12th of August. Today I'm walking to Dunbeath, where I'll be staying on a campsite tonight. The first part of the walk from Helmsdale to Berrydale, I've decided to stick to the A road. This is the A9 and I think this follows the east coast of Scotland towards John O'Groats, because I read a couple of blogs last night about people who have done the John O'Groats way from Helmsdale towards Berrydale, and they say it's very hard work. It's a very challenging walk because at this time of year it's going to be really overgrown with bracken and there's going to be millions of ticks, and also that you have to cross about 4 or 5 really steep sided gullies, and in some parts it's difficult to find the markers for the walk. So it would take me a really long time to do that, and if it gets really hot today I'll probably run out of drinking water as well. So I've decided just to stick to the main road towards Berrydale, and then after Berrydale I'm going to try walking along the last 6 miles of the walk towards Dunbeath, and I'm hoping then it'll be clearing up a bit as well then. There's a brock quite close to the A road, so I'm just going to go and have a look. I've just arrived at Ousdale Brock, where it's about a 300 or 400 metre walk down the hill. So I'm going to have a little rest and then wander down and have a look. So this is Ousdale Brock, and like the other brocks in Scotland, this is a building that's about 2,000 years old, and they believe that when this one was built it would have been about 6 metres high and it would have had a thatched roof on top. I'm just going to go inside and have a look. And considering this is 2,000 years old and it's just dry stone built, so no mortar or anything, it's quite impressive that it's lasted this long. Especially this is the weather in this part of the world isn't that kind to buildings as well. So I guess on a sunny day there'll be some really commanding views of the sea and the countryside, but it's a very damp, misty day today, unfortunately. I've just arrived in Berrydale. It's just a small hamlet on the A road, but there's a tea room up here, so I'm hoping it's open because I'm going to have a little break and get out of this rain. Then afterwards I'm going to look for the John O'Groats Way and then continue along the coast to Dunbeath. Just arrived on the John O'Groats Way. Not going to get many spectacular views today, unfortunately. It's very foggy, but there is a sea arch about a mile or so further up the coast, so I hope to get a look at that. So just down there, about 100 metres or so, I guess, is a Dun sea arch. Unfortunately, I can hardly make it out in this fog. Never mind, I'm about 4 miles now from Dunbeath, and I know further up the coast there's other sea arches and sea stacks. So I think the coastline does get quite spectacular heading towards John O'Groats, but I think today I won't be taking many photographs, so I'm just going to have a little break now and then continue to the campsite. Just approaching Dunbeath. Dunbeath is a very small place, but there's a spa shop where I've just stocked up for tonight and tomorrow. And there's the campsite, which is about a 10-minute walk up the road. Just arrived at Inver campsite. This is a very small campsite, but it seems a very quiet, quite pleasant place. So it's a pity about the fog today, because I think the coastal walk from Berrydale to Dunbeath would have been quite pleasant on a sunny day, would have been quite picturesque. But I'm hoping that the mist is clearing up now, so hopefully next few days it'll be quite nice. So tomorrow I'm walking to Lejog, and I'm hoping to find somewhere to stealth camp along the coast. So until tomorrow morning, good night.